That's my chain. Talk shit at this part about how like the world didn't see it coming. That's my chain. Now you know this fresh, right? You didn't know. I'm so wild. They call me Four Loco, so local. Where they do it.
Hello, and welcome to Two Square Girls, a podcast where we talk about all the things you never wanted to know or cared to hear. And today is a very special day. It's technically episode 7, but we have a special guest with us, our very first guest ever. And instead of M squared, we have one half of M squared, and our guest, who is a future podcaster himself, whom we will refer to by the letter A. So I think this is a good time to explain why we're having a guest. And it's actually because our demographics have been showing that there's a male audience that has been, blossoming in our analytics. So we've decided to have a male perspective, and we have our expert mansplainer to mansplain the N Squared podcast. So please introduce yourself, illustrious guest. I just stole that from Jesus and Mero, by the way. I hope I don't get sued. But please introduce yourself.
Can you hear me okay?
Yes, noob.
Fuck you. I really don't want to introduce myself. I'm nobody.
Well, what about your podcast though? You have a logo which is way cooler than ours, but ours is pretty cool too, and we also have stickers. I can't believe I didn't mention that. That should have been the first thing I mentioned. I'm sorry, Square Hive. By the way, that's the name of our followers. They're called the Square Hive. As you can see, we're heavily borrowing from other podcasts to make ours a thing. But again, this is our mansplaining episode. So can you explain can you mansplaining real quick? I'm sure everyone would love to hear this.
I really can't. What is it? Like when a man basically says the same thing as a woman, in manly words.
Are you asking me to mansplaining to you? This is getting very meta, and I don't know that I'm high enough for that yet. So,
I feel like you're plenty high.
You know what? You're right. And also, I think you mentioned when you first heard back in December. Wow, we're almost at March, but back in December of 2020, when we first released our first couple of episodes, the pilot and Emoji Coin, and Woke Milk. That's the one that's been the most popular so far. You had some things that you were mansplaining, and then you caught yourself and you're like, let me just mansplain your podcast to you. So yeah, we can discuss some of the things or something else totally different, and have that be part of this episode. And also, this is our new series. It's called Friends of the Pod. And we're going to have people that we know anonymously come on and just talk and shoot the shit, because it's a pandemic still. And if you forgot that, then you're probably not listening to this podcast. You're like doing interesting things. Not that this pod isn't interesting, but I'm going to stop talking now because I've definitely passed the, what is it? The Bechdel test, right? Where,
I have no fucking clue.
Actually, no, I haven't, because it has to be a conversation with two women for it to be the Bechdel test. I don't even think I'm pronouncing that right. But basically, that's the thing where when in like a media, like in a movie or a TV show, two women have to be talking for like in a certain amount of time. And it's not very long. It's like, I think it's like maybe like 10 seconds or like a minute or something. Like, it's not very long. And the two women have to be talking on screen and have names. Like, they have to be actual characters who have names. And then they have to talk about something that isn't a guy, and if they do that for 10 seconds or like however long the Bechdel test is, and it like varies, I guess, then they pass it. And then and I'm like, wow, that's a really sad test, because I'm sure I know people who wouldn't pass it in real life because they're just constantly talking about like bullshit and like situationships that I'm like, I don't like, why are you asking me advice on your relationships? I've literally never been in a long one. And also I don't care. Like my advice will always be like, sounds
Leave him, sis.
couldn't be me. Like, so let's throw out some topics. What about the topic of food? Because I think that's a very rich area that no one covers that much. And you could tell I'm high because I'm thinking about food, and it's definitely like almost 10 p.m. But I feel like that's an area of your expertise. And as our resident mansplainer, maybe you can mansplain some food to me, because I'm no
Like
expert.
what?
Well, let's see. Do you think, are there any inherently gendered foods? Like, are there foods that only guys eat or only girls eat? Or, others, non-binary. We got to be all inclusive here. But let's keep it like, do you think food can be gendered? Like, are there certain things that people eat that you're like, why would a girl eat that? Or why would a guy eat that?
I don't think food can be gendered. I mean, food is for everyone. But
Right.
like, I
But
feel like
are there...
people definitely overthink things and like, like watch the way they eat certain foods because of their phallic similarities, whatever. But oh my god, can you please edit that out? I want to kill myself. I can't believe I said that.
Maybe.
Anyways,
if I can figure out how to edit things, I will. But no guarantees. Also, you realize that we're on minute 6, and statistically on our analytics, I think maybe 90% of people don't go over minute 2. So,
it's me, 90% of people.
Yeah, it's literally people will listen to it for 2, because how long is a song? It's like 3 minutes, right? People don't have an attention span for podcasts, even if it's a pandemic. Like, people don't, right? So likely, no one will ever hear it, or if they do, it'll be the other half, the other co-host of our pod. It will be the second M. It will be M to the power of 2 who will hear it. And okay, so while you were talking about that, I thought of a couple things. I have never seen, and this might be because I don't have like a variety of like, female friends, that maybe I'm just like very limiting in the type of female friends that I have, but I've never seen a girl like very like enthusiastically eat like jerky. Do you think jerky is like a gendered food?
I feel like jerky is marketed towards males.
Ooh.
I've never seen jerky commercials with women in it. At least not
That's
the
our
ones
next
eating the jerky.
that's our next product. After woke milk, we're gonna have female jerky, which sounds like a porn magazine. Actually, if we sell the female jerky, you get a free porn magazine, because those don't exist anymore. So it'll just be a stick figure drawing.
I feel like if you advertise female jerky, you're gonna get a lot of people not looking to consume meat.
Ooh, that was a very sly way of trying to imply something there. So we're gonna move on from that. But also, you're probably right. But also, I don't know. I feel like maybe it's a geographical thing. Like, I'm sure there are places like, like people go like hiking and on trails and stuff. Like, dehydrated foods are a real, like,
Yeah, definitely.
thing.
I've seen jerky be marketed as meat stick.
Yeah,
Bill
and
Kong.
like
But I don't know
there's
female meat stick.
Female meat stick sounds like a vibrator. What a great name for a vibrator, man. Female meat stick.
Oh god, just wait till you start selling merch. I worry about what you'll do.
We have stickers. I can't believe that should have been the first thing I said, is that we have stickers now, and they are everywhere that I go because I stick them places. Usually there's already stickers everywhere. I'm not just like a total asshole about it, but sometimes I am, because I'd be in the drive-thru at Starbucks, and one time I put the sticker there, and I went like the next like couple days, and it was gone, and I'm like, why are these other ugly stickers here and not the cool logo ones with the QR codes that we have printed for no real reason, because Like I said, no one listens past like minute like 2. So so even if they are clicking on it or they're using the QR code, it's probably like, they're like, what is this? Like, and then it's like, oh, I'm gonna listen to the new, I don't know. I don't even know what new music is out right now. Is there there's definitely gendered music, I think. That's still a thing, right?
Yeah, actually, I feel
Okay,
like
so
music has become more gendered nowadays. Like
that's
the
interesting.
emergence of like prominent female rappers.
That's really interesting because in our the other half of this podcast, M to the power of 2, she predicted in one of our previous podcasts, it was for the emoji coin episode where we were doing predictions for 2021, and she predicted that there would be more feminine empowered music. I don't really know what that means. However, I think that that's maybe what you're getting at. Mansplain this. Mansplain female rappers to us.
I don't think I'm qualified to.
Well, that's the whole point. We talk about things that we're definitely not qualified to talk about and probably don't make much sense. There was an episode that I was constantly referring to the R. Kelly documentary as the OJ documentary, and it took me 4
That
episodes.
sounds wildly racist.
But it wasn't. It's one of those things
You're
that
like,
sounds racist,
oh,
but it
I'm
isn't,
going to
because we were
confuse
talking.
2 African American celebrities.
I mean, they're both problematic, so whatever. Like, it wasn't a race thing. It was a like, there's like TV. There's so many TV shows about like so much stuff. How many Epstein and like conspiracy shit, like, TV shows are out there. So I was getting my documentaries mixed up because wasn't there a TV show about the like OJ trial? So that's where I was like,
Definitely.
so yeah, so I
There have
definitely mixed
been
those
a
two up.
number of them, I think.
Right. I know there's so much like weird content out there, and like documentaries which aren't documentaries. I think, okay, so I do think that you are qualified to mansplain documentaries because I don't watch any. So anything you have to say will be more qualified than I, and therefore
Honey, I watch anime. Like, that's about it.
mansplain some anime. What is Death Note? I missed
Death
that one.
Note is amazing. I haven't seen it in so long. I'd probably fuck up trying to explain the plot. I just remember seeing it when I was in high school and like loving it, and then observing like countless little preteens and teenagers become obsessed with it as well. Um, I guess the gist of it is this kid finds a notebook and there's kind of instructions in there. You write down someone's name and they die, and then he figures out that like you can also like make them do things before they die. And yeah, he becomes a serial killer. He starts off by like killing criminals, and then he starts killing people who are like trying to hunt him.
Ooh, sounds
And
dark.
it gets really, really, really good. You should definitely watch it. There's a really good Japanese live action and a really terrible American live action on Netflix.
Ooh, all of these things sound like I would watch them like in the background, but I probably should pay attention to them while I'm watching them
But
because
if
they
you want to
sound.
see problematic, the way that the protagonist in that story treats, I guess, the leading female character is
Uh-huh.
pretty fucking terrible.
Ooh, that, I mean, isn't that a lot of TV shows anyway, and like movies and such? Like that's not. I don't think that's a like, inherently like, for that genre or like that particular, like, that particular movie. But I did watch the music video, the Kendrick Lamar music video, where there's like, am I wrong? Is that not a thing? I thought it was Kendrick Lamar. Does he not have like a song where he has that video where there's like scenes?
I have no fucking clue what you're talking about.
All right, well, that that was a great while it lasted. Okay, so I also don't know anything about anime, so you could mansplain anime to me. It could be called manime. when you
I,
mansplain
again,
anime?
don't think I'm qualified enough. I barely watch anything at all. Like, I'm really into a certain genre of anime.
Okay.
Uh, I guess it's called. I'm probably gonna fuck up the pronunciation. Am I pronouncing pronunciation correctly?
Is there another way to pronounce pronunciation? Pronunciation? Now you're getting me thinking about how to
Yeah.
say things. It's like when you say that a word over and over and then it
I'm
suddenly doesn't sound like a word
I'm
anymore.
intentionally trying to like set you off on like this weird high tangent.
I mean, that's the whole pod, though. And also, you have to contribute to it because this is a mansplain episode. And I haven't thought of the title yet. Every episode, we think of the title, or like the title occurs in the middle of the episode. And I think you probably don't
I
want to.
think I think it's female meat stick.
No, it has to be 2 words because all of our titles have been thus, except for the Bay Area special, and that was a very special episode, and in many ways because it was our first video pod. Maybe you could mansplain bottled water to us, and tell and like analyze why, girls really like different brands of bougie water.
I have no fucking clue.
Okay, but if you were to speculate, because again, this is what we do on the pod. In case our listeners aren't familiar, because this is the first episode you've listened to. In which case, what are you doing with your life? Go back and listen to all of them because they're amazing. Anyway, yeah. So, okay, what's your favorite bottled water? All right, let's get out of this no clue, cycle we've got here because you do have a clue. Get a clue.
I don't drink bottled water. I drink sparkling water.
Oh, Mr. Fancy Man, sparkling water. All right, La Croix, what do you drink? Drop
What
some
don't I
flavors.
drink?
Drop some flavors.
Arrowhead, Crystal Geyser,
The
Geyser
sparkling
or Geyser?
how is that? How is that the spark? They have sparkling versions of those waters.
Yeah, they do.
Okay.
Waterloo.
What is Waterloo? It sounds
It's
like
a really fucking good sparkling water brand. LaCroix
interesting.
or LaCroix, however you
La
pronounce
Croix.
it.
You gotta say it like La Croix. Or you gotta say it like how
And
Post Malone says it, Lee Croy. Mixing up the vodka with the Lee Croy. What song is that from? It's from a song. Hold on, I'm gonna think of it in a second.
Alexa, play
Wow.
Wow by Post Malone.
Bam! We said that at the same time. Jinx, you owe me a
Wow by Post Malone on Amazon Music.
Here we go.
This one?
Yeah. Get to the part where he says, oh, it's actually the very first beginning. All right, turn it up.
Alexa, max volume.
Wait, you can keep playing it.
Put up 20-inch players like I'm Lil Troy. Now it's everybody flocking in a decoy. Shorty mixing up the vodka with the liquor.
Alexa, pause.
Hey.
Alexa, pause. Oh my god.
Damn, Alexa's not listening to you.
Alexa, pause.
Alexa better learn her place. This is the mansplain episode. It's not the Alexa-splain episode. That was great, though. That's the first time we've had a sound effect or something close to it on the pod. So I'm still too lazy to figure out sound effects, but I will, because in the next episode, which will actually be something that we talked about in a previous episode that we would do, but we haven't done yet, are poetry book reviews. And the first one that we're doing, I'll do the first one, but it'll be Lana Del Rey's poetry book. And then there's going to be a Halsey and then Rupi Kaur for the culture. Because if we're doing two like white, like, female singer artist people, we got to throw Rupi Kaur in there because it's important, etc. Representation matters.
Yeah. Brown people can be overrated too.
Whoa, let's talk about this. Elaborate.
I'm really terrible at elaborating. I'm better at just talking shit.
Well, that's what I meant.
But like, I'm done talking shit. I don't know enough Rupi Kaur to like criticize Rupi Kaur.
but why do you need to criticize it? Just say like what you think about it, because it's important. I think it's a good way for us to discuss these cultured things in a non-pressured setting, because we don't have any pressured settings right now. It's still Pando, and we don't have awkward parties where we stand around and pretend we know things and then go to the bathroom and Google them later. Like that's not a thing right now. So this is the low tech version of that.
I don't know, the whole Instagram poetry thing. Or is it Tumblr poetry? It's just not my vibe.
Okay, that's fair, because I agree. It's not my vibe, but I understand how it is a thing. And I think she was the first one to really do the
No.
Instagram thing. Like the first.
She was the first one to do it successfully, I guess.
Ooh.
But apparently she ripped off or heavily borrowed from a woman named was it Naira Wahid? I don't know, this other I think she's British.
I do know Naira Wahid's work. I read Little Embers, and I think that's her. I might be getting that wrong. Let me make sure that that's.
I know she's the woman that Beyonce kind of leaned on for the whole Lemonade thing.
That's so cool, because I think that I really didn't know that, and now I'm like looking it up, and now that's like another thing that I might check out, because I think it's important to recognize the people who came before the people who made, who kind of blew up. So that's a really interesting point, because that happens so much. It inevitably happens to a lot of creatives, because they're more focused on having something meaningful to put out into the world, and not so much about how to market it, how to distribute it in a way that is very like, I don't know, like it's just everywhere, right? That's the prolific nature of it. That's why most poets and stuff, they don't get any fame until they're dead. So something to look forward to. So that's a good point. See, you do have a clue. You have things to say. You have things to mansplain. All right, so mansplain Beyonce's Lemonade. You should have seen this one coming. When you mentioned Queen Bee, you should have seen this one coming.
Yeah, I'm sorry, but I know better than to speak about Beyonce on the internet.
Yeah, although I will say this.
That is what is it, like a sacred cow? Am I using that idiom correctly?
Ooh, maybe. I'm not up on my idioms. I gotta take a look.
Alexa, what is a sacred cow?
It's what?
According to Wikipedia, due to the multiple benefits from cattle, there are varying beliefs about cattle in societies and beliefs.
Alexa,
all right,
shut
Alexa,
up.
shut the fuck up. Like, you don't know what you're talking about. Alexa's tripping. Alexa's like, let me fuck with these people. I know what they mean.
Alexa's like literal secret cow, or the sacred cow.
Oh man, that's hilarious. We'll look it up later. I'll Google this thing one day when I'm really bored. But I will say this though, Beyonce, Lemonade, brilliant. But she did have that line in that song, Survivor, where she said, I'm not going to diss you on the internet because my mama taught me better than that. And then what did she do? She made an album about a dude dissing him on the internet. But it was really good. So, excused. that's I think we can wrap up this episode, because I'm starting to get hungry. And then also, it's been 24 minutes, and I want you to plug your future podcast, because as our guest,
I'd rather not.
Can you give us the name and the premise?
I don't really have a premise, and I might play with the name. So I don't want to say
currently?
anything, but I'd rather not. But I will say that I'm planning and I tend to take a lot of time whenever I'm planning anything. Um, and it kind of ends up just being planned and not coming to fruition. So we'll see how it happens.
I hope it does
We'll
because
have to know if and
yeah,
when
because
it materializes into anything substantial.
I hope it does because, you know, then you can mansplain this pod further and then I could womansplain your pod and it'll just be a back and forth of just like, you know, just nonsense. And honestly, as someone who took a class on nonsense last semester, and this is a true story, nonsense is valuable, you know, sometimes not when it's like, you know, problematic or when it is for no reason, or no, I guess if it's for like a bad reason, it's not great. But nonsense has this ability to clear your head of the cobwebs because it kind of like makes you think of things in a way where, you know, you are not used to thinking of them. So I think that this was a successful first episode of our mini series, Friends on the Pod.
Is
And
it friends of the pod or friends on the pod?
both. It can be both. Don't mansplain my title now. Like at the end, the audacity. No, it's actually been really great having you on here. And I think that, you know, if and when you do produce your own pod, it will be a brilliant one because it will have things that I think you do have a clue about. And that'll be fun for me to listen to because
I don't think I have a clue about anything.
but you can talk about the things that you don't have a clue about. That's what everyone does anyway. That's literally every podcast ever. So,
All right, then.
yeah. So thank you all for listening, and keep your mask on until you get both vaccinations. Or until...
I'm scheduled on Monday.
Huh?
I'm scheduled to get vaxxed on Monday.
Ooh. First shot, or are you just getting one shot? That's important.
First shot.
Okay.
And then I get the second one later, obviously.
All right.
I don't think, has Johnson & Johnson been approved? That's the only one shot available.
As of this day, it's been you know, they're a one shot shot, and you don't have to get, or it doesn't have to be frozen from what I hear. And they're like rolling out a couple mil this weekend from my limited from overhearing things on TV because I don't really watch the news anymore as much. But yeah, that's gonna be a thing. Because yeah, we're in case you guys forgot, we're still mid-pando. So like I said, keep your mask on. Wear a couple of masks because apparently that's a thing now. And also, yeah, just don't be a dick and make sure you're being safe and socially distancing still. Because I gotta say that now because people don't do that shit, and it's not okay. So keep that mask on until Future says it's okay. Until you hear that song from every street corner. Hey, have Alexa play Mask Off really quick.
Alexa, play Mask Off by Future.
Mask Off by Future on Amazon Music.
Yeah, this song's gonna make a comeback in a real big way. So get ready for that, guys.
Imagine like this shit going platinum like again.
Oh, that's gonna be unbearable. Like, I listen to a lot of Future.
Why?
Because
willingly?
When I'm craving, you know, really like weird fashion and toxic masculinity, I'll listen to a lot of Future. And this is the Mansplain episode. We got to have that Future. Ooh. What a combination. Awesome. All right.
Not joking, just joking. We